Hello, fabulous flute players. So this is your second I play, you play lesson. So we're going to start today with our head joint and our straw, and then eventually we're going to actually move into our entire flute, which will be pretty cool. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is make sure you have your flute nearby. You need your straw and your head joint to start. So if you need to pause this video so you can go get them, please do that. All right, so we're going to start first with just our straw. So I'm going to get really close to the camera. So when we're playing our flute, our lips are just together. They're not like rolled in, they're not smushed, they're not rolled out. It's just like you shut your mouth, there are your lips. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our straw and put it right in here. And you're just going to blow air out, not in, out. Blow air, just slow air out your straw. Then you're going to take your fake flute and you're going to pull that straw and your air should keep going. Try it again. Beautiful. Again. If you look at that opening, it's really small. It's not a big circle, it's kind of an oval. And that's what's going to get our air on our flute moving. Okay, so now we're going to put our straw down. Grab your head joint. If you need to pause the video, pause it. Grab that head joint. All right, and we're going to have our head joint. Now, the first thing you want to double check is you have two sides to your head joint. One of the sides has that red mark. That red mark is going to be facing your shoulder. So, see how you can't see mine? It's because it's facing this way. So that red mark's going to be facing backwards. And you're going to put your flute up just like this, right in the crook of your chin. And I know a few of you, we talked about those of us, I have a really non-existent lips, so my flute is going to be lined up. The edge of my lip, the pink part of my lip, is right with the embouchure hole. I'll move this in a little bit. And if there are a couple of you we talked about, you just need to move your flute up a little bit higher. But the things we're going to check is that our flute is parallel to the floor. It's not up, it's not down, it's perfectly parallel to the floor. In fact, I'm going to take this hand and put it on the back side, so it's not this way, and take it on the back side. And then I'm going to check that the embouchure hole is lined up with my nose. So I should be able to, right to my nose, right to the embouchure hole. And if I close in, you can see that I'm not really covering up, and I'm not rolled in, because then I wouldn't get a sound. So it's pointing straight up at the ceiling. Okay, so with our head joint being held like this, one end here, we're checking this is, and we're going to just blow across. Ooh, look, I can't get a sound when I blow across. So just like we talked in class, you need to blow your air down. And you can think of it, imagine you're sitting at a table. You're going to if you have a plate of food that's right in front of you. So it's not like on your stomach. It's a plate of food sitting at your table right in front of you. You're going to aim for that plate of food. That's going to be your air. So you're aiming kind of down this way. Oops, and I got to check. So I'm aiming my air down. If you need to make an adjustment, you need to move this up or down. Still make sure it's parallel. Make sure this is in the middle. And the hole is pointed up. We are not rolled in. We are not rolled out. Aim for that plate of food in front of you. You can check with your fingers. Your air, you should be able to feel it here. Now, if you're not getting a sound, most likely your air is just up too high. If I aim my air forward, I get a sound like that. Aim it down. Imagine that plate of food in front of you. Very nice. So, remember, we can check with our hand. So let's do that. You're going to take your hand, put your nose right here. Touch your nose. Pull it about 3 inches away. And you're going to aim your hair for your wrist. Now we're going to move our air. Then I'm going to aim it for the middle of my palm. So here's my wrist, up to my palm, wrist, palm. Now watch my chin. Now you guys just look at me. Don't do it with me. Just look at me. So I'm going to do wrist. Now I'm going to stop moving my hands. See if you can see what happens to my face. I'm going to go wrist, palm, wrist, palm. So you can see we adjust our jaw. So if you're aiming your air forward, that jaw is going to be out more, and that's when we're not getting a sound. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of I play, you play. You need that head joint again. So I'm going to set my metronome to 80. Find the right spot, parallel to the floor. Tone your embouchure hole facing up, line up with your nose, hand around on the back side. And if you can't get a note on the first one, then you just need to make an adjustment. All right, here we go. So I'm going to play first, you're going to listen, and then you're going to imitate. Okay? Down, up, ready, set. I go first. And stop. Very nice. So if you need to rewind this part of the video to just work on your head joint, you can definitely do this. For some people, this comes easier than others. For me, this was something that was tricky at the beginning. I had to spend more time. And sometimes playing in front of the mirror is really helpful. So then you can see what your face is doing. You might be going, have a really big opening right here, and that would make it not get sound. You might just be blowing your air across, and you need to aim it down. All right, so last time we talked a little bit about how when we start our notes, we should be starting them with our tongue. And our tongue is going to be behind our teeth. So imagine these are teeth, and then this is the inside of my mouth. Your tongue is hitting right where your teeth and like the top, the palate meets. And then it's going to come down. Ta, ta. So you're going to start our tongue there so we get a nice crisp sound. Ta, ta. So what we're going to do, we'll do another I play, you play. We're going to first just practice saying ta. So I'm going to go ta, and then you'd go ta, which I know seems really silly, but when you're doing it, concentrate on what your tongue's doing because you're going to need to then do it with your head joint. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to go first. Down, up, ready, set. Here I go. Ta. You should be holding for 4 beats. Ta. You should be holding for 4 beats. Ta. Very nice. All right, now this time we're going to put our flutes up. Make sure, again, this is parallel to the floor. The embouchure hole is pointing up at the ceiling. For me, it's right where my pink part of my lip meets this little ridge on the back side. I'm not rolled in. That's rolled in. I'm not rolled out. You can see just kind of a little bit of that hole. All right, so this time I'm going to play for a note for 4 beats, but make sure this time you're really concentrating and starting with your tongue. So we get that right, clear sound. Okay, here we go. I'll go first, then you imitate. Down, up, ready, set, and go. Adjust if you need to. Starting with your tongue. Very nice. All right, this time what we're going to do is I'm going to be reading off your head joint happiness. You actually don't need to read off the sheet. You can practice it afterwards with me. You've got it written down. But what I'm going to do is I'll play it, and all you do is imitate. So you don't need to actually have this in front of you. But just so you know when you're practicing at home, we're going to go down to line 4. We're going to do lines 1 through 4. The only thing that will be a little different is at the end of line 3, we'll close our head joint and put our hand at the end. But you can practice with this sheet after you watch this video. This video, you're just going to be imitating what I'm doing, so it should be pretty straightforward. Okay, so again, I'm going to play. Make sure this is all set up correctly. Make sure the red part is facing that way. You should be able to see it on the back side of your flute. It's not on the front part. Okay, if our flute is backwards, we're never going to get it sound that way. Okay, so you can see that red part? That needs to be facing back. Okay, so I've got this parallel floor. Embouchure hole's lined up with my nose. It's straight up. Okay, just try to get a sound on your own right now. Try to get a little bit of sound. Okay, we're going to start. So I'm going to play something for a measure, and then you're going to imitate. And sometimes my notes will be 4 beats long. Sometimes they'll be whole notes. Sometimes they'll be half notes. Sometimes they'll be quarter notes. And we're going to start every note with our tongue behind our teeth and moves down. All right, here we go. So I'm going to start. Down, up, ready, set. Here I go. Your turn, it's right there. So you can go back and practice with that chunk of the video, which is your head joint happiness. Once you feel really confident doing it with the video, then you can do it on your own. And we're just going to do lines 1 through 4 to start. Awesome. Nice job, guys. All right. Let's see. We've got plenty of time. We're going to do that one more time. All right, here we go. So you saw that I started with whole notes, which are 4 beats, and then I did 2 half notes, ta, ta, and then eventually 4 quarter notes, ta, 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 ta. And air kept moving, ta, 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 not ta, 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 but that air moved that entire time. Okay, and then eventually you saw that I closed the head joint on that last one. All right, here we go. Check that this is in the right place, parallel to the floor. Embouchure hole is lined up with your nose, and it's pointed up. It is not rolled in. It is not rolled out. We're aiming our air down like it's on a dinner plate in front of us on the table, okay? All right, here we go. I'm going to go first. Down, up, ready, set, and go. And stop. Very nice. And a quick reminder, we did this last class. If you are having trouble getting a sound, remember, we can go like this, and it's kind of funny to do. We go hot dog with a super lot of energy. Hot dog, not hot dog, but hot dog with our fake flutes. And then we do our air that way with our tongue starting. Do it again. And then when we add our flutes, we should get a nice big fat sound as long as this is in the right place. Hot dog, hot dog. Then we add our flutes. So remember, if you get stuck, you can always go back and try the hot dog. The hot dog usually works. Okay, so now we're going to get a little bit fancy, flute players. You are going to be putting your entire flute together. So quick reminder, so if you need to pause and make sure you've got your case right nearby, you have your flute head joint that you are going to attach to the body of your flute. So I'm going to turn my flute backwards, my head joint, I've got my red line, and I've got a black line. I'm going to line up the 2 red lines like that. Whoop, whoop. Oh, there it is. And then I can still see, I went too far because I couldn't see the black line anymore. So you should still be able to see that black line. It's not coming very, very clear on this camera. There you go. So the red lines are lined up, but you should still see that black line. All right, and then on your foot joint has a little red mark, and so does the body of your flute. You're going to twist that on until the 2 red marks line up on your foot joint. There we go. All right, so now here's where we get fancy. And the first time you do this, you might need someone to assist you, and that is okay. You might need to ask a parent to maybe support this part of your flute. But what we're going to do is we're going to take not our left hand, but our right hand. You're going to take your right hand, and you're actually going to hold it where your head joint and the body of your flute meet. And you're going to hold it really securely like that, okay? And then you're going to take your other hand of your flute that goes right here, and you're going to have your flute held out to the side. So it's going to be a little weird, but you should be able to hold it up. It's not too heavy, but if you find that you need a little assistance, you can always have a parent just kind of put their hand right here the first 2 times. I think after you do it a couple times, it'll make sense. So we hold this here. We're doing the same thing. So nothing changes. We're doing all the same things. This opening is small. We're finding the right place. So again, if I add my flute and then I'm rolled out this far, I won't get a sound. Or if my air is, or I'm rolled in too far, then I get kind of a sad sound. So all of this has to be the same. So before you start blowing, double check, is this parallel to the floor? And again, you might need to have a parent help you hold it up a little bit. So you're not like this and you're not like this. This embouchure hole is right where your nose is. The bottom of your lip, the red part of your lip is right on the edge of this hole. And I'm not rolled in and I'm not rolled out. I can feel that kind of just like the front of that embouchure hole. All right, so I'm going to play. So we're going to do I play, you play again. So I'm going to go first, and then you're going to imitate. Okay, here we go. So I start, and then when I stop playing, that's when you imitate what I just did. Okay, here we go. Down, up, ready, set, and go. Starting with our tongue. Very nice. And when I'm starting those notes, when I play the half notes and quarter notes, my air doesn't stop. It goes for 4 beats. My air is going. It's same as that, the same air I'd use as a whole note. My tongue's just interrupting it. Not. Do you guys hear the difference? Very nice. Awesome. Okay, so you can go back and practice that. So once we feel really comfortable with our head joint, then we can add the body of our flute and get used to how that feels without worrying about our fingers, because that's a whole separate issue. So head joint, then head joint with body. And then we're going to go over one more thing that seems pretty simple, but it can be a little bit tricky at first. So I'm going to tilt my camera down. Oops, I need to tilt it up a little bit so you can still see me. So I'm going to be sitting in my chair. And I'm actually, I'll tilt it down one more time. I need another camera angle for this. I'm going to sit with my flute on my right leg. So my flute is going to be on my right leg, not my left leg, my right leg. And then I'm going to take with my flute my left hand, and your left hand is going to be going on the blue keys. So you have one thumb key on the back, and when your thumb presses on that thumb key, it's actually going to press on that key and the wide key next to it. So it's actually hitting both of those at the same time. So with my flute on my right leg, I'm hitting that, and then I've got my first finger, second finger, and third finger. And if I have those fingers on those keys, then my hand should be touching this little black pad right here. It should be lined up. So we don't want to be like this. That looks really uncomfortable, right? It's gonna actually rest up against that. So we've got our thumb on that blue key on the back, and actually on the fat key that's with it. 1, 2, 3, and you can see there's a key in between right there that you are not hitting. So there's one key in between. That does not have a blue sticker. So thumb, 1, 2, 3, and your pinky is going to hang out on this key. Okay? So just get that right hand. You don't even have to worry about your left hand. Get to feel where that feels comfortable. Awesome. And then you're going to take your other hand, your right hand, and your thumb is going to go where this black pad is. Okay? And then you literally have 4, 5, 6 on your green keys. 4, 5, 6. And mine are going to look backwards. 4, 5, and 6. And then your pinky goes here. Now what I'm going to have you guys do is you're just going to, I know this seems silly, but trust me, it'll make your life so much easier later. You're just going to sit here with that hand position in the right place. So thumb, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Your pinkies are resting on those pinky keys. All right, this front finger is kind of collapsed in on that black pad. Your other thumb is on that black pad. Okay. Now, I want you to then put your flute very carefully in your lap. Take your fingers off of it. And then you're going to try it again. Put it on your right leg, not your left leg, right leg. Okay, and put those fingers in place. So thumb, and then 1, 2, 3. Double check that you're not doing this. That's the wrong key. 1, 2, 3, and then pinky's there. And then on your other hand, your thumb, 1, 2, 3, and pinky. And this might seem really weird. We do something in flute that none of the other instruments get to do. We do something called TV practicing. Eventually, in TV practicing is when there's a certain fingering pattern. I actually have you watch your favorite TV show and just practice going back and forth between those fingerings. This would be a good thing to do in front of the TV. Just have your flute out, go to hold it, make sure your hands are in the right place. Because we want to get used to those hands being in the right place before we have to do it over here. Because when our hands are Where our flute's on our leg, we can actually see it. When you go to start to play your flute, it's going to be off to the side and you can't see where your fingers are. So you want to get really comfortable. So get your favorite TV show, grab your flute, and then practice making sure your fingers are in the right place. Watch your TV show, put your flute down, pick it back up, make sure double check they're in the right place. And we want to get used to that. So then eventually, since we've been doing this, we get used to how it feels up here. Eventually then we add our fingers and they're in the right spots and they know exactly where to go already. It's not an uncomfortable thing. Does that make sense, flute players? Now something else that we're going to hopefully talk about in our class is using a tuner. And when you play on your head joint, remember your tuner, when your head joint's open, you're not closing it, it should be playing an A. If our head joint's in the right place and we're using our air correctly, we're using lots of big air, our air's pointing down at that dinner plate in front of you, it should come out as an A on your tuner, and it's an A to the left, so we call that flat. It's a little bit, an A that's a little bit flat or a little bit out of tune. That's the right note. So when you guys work with your tuners, see, I can change the pitch. So we want, our goal is for it to be on that A. I got a different tuner I can show you guys actually, and then you guys will have your own. So here's my, see how it's an A, but it's to that one side. See how it changes? So your goal is for it to be an A, but it's going to be an A a little bit to the left. So that's something you can also practice. That's a good thing to do in front of the mirror. Awesome. All right, happy practicing, flute players. Bye, guys.